Hello and welcome to episode 42 of our Timberborn Update 6 Waterbeavers playthrough, Cycle 46, Day 18. About 5 days left in our current bad tide. You know the drill at this point. We've been solving a whole lot of small problems every episode, sometimes causing additional ones, but hopefully, generally making some nice progress. And I feel like we've gotten a lot of good stuff done. There's just always so much to do, and so little time, and so few resources with which to make it happen. So, we'll get there. It's going to be alright. Just have to trust the process and continue working on small things, one piece at a time. So, we did start planting additional grapes over here, which is really going to help a whole bunch of stuff with the tree nursery and everything that it connects to. The bad water, unfortunately, has killed a few over here, but that is something we are going to eventually solve, hopefully. But we also are about to have an additional access for our wood felling planification lodge to get into here. I'm anticipating probably needing to move this at least a little bit, depending on what it actually has to cut down. Remember, this isn't responsible for cutting down the giant sequoias. That would be the giant sequoia feller, or depending on your preference, mild disease. So, this guy only has to be able to access the domesticated brambles. And then, since we're not cutting the unbelievably tall bamboo down, it doesn't need to, factor into that. That is what the gatherer flag is for. And they also have to get to the berries, which is over here. So, honestly, if this is never going to be super deep, we probably could just put this down here in the water. But I'm not 100% confident it won't flood if the doorway is wet. So, probably the best compromise we could do, most likely, would be, first of all, for me to remember where the building is, probably just stick it right here, which is going to give us a very nice range for the entirety of the one deep spot here. And then also most of this area. Remember, we don't need to worry about the grapevines with this, but should we manage to get bad water diversion accomplished up here, then suddenly that opens up a lot of space. And most importantly, opens up a lot of opportunities for us to have a bunch of domesticated brambles. This guy can plant all the way out here. We do not need to keep this path. That is not an issue we should be concerned with. So we can just remove... We do need to keep the path to this pass-through lodge because that is a building that is currently occupied and being used as a dam, so we cannot pause it, or that's cheating. I would like to avoid that. But I can, if we are going to be using this space and having the wood felling planification lodge be a part of it, we should have the tree nursery plant what it can plant and then unplant the rest so this can spread. Now you might be saying, why should we bother planting these when you could just unmark it and then the brambles are going to go crazy? Well, we can at least start by planting additional stuff while the beavers have the ability to do it. And then just unmark one of these. And eventually, it's going to make its way around. These guys can cut down all of it. And we're not trying to save anything over here. So it doesn't matter if the brambles go absolutely all over the place. It's totally okay. Just have to make sure everything is marked for cutting on this level, including the paths, because they will grow on the paths. We've already established that. And including the areas that are covered by our dam and all that other stuff. That is going to be just fine. And if I don't mark this one as unplanted, then it's not going to grow past here. And we won't have any problems. I do think that since we have all of this taken care of right there, I will unmark this for planting. I'll keep this single one right here so it can't spread through here. But in case we do need to have a path come through here, I think I can deal with giving up these few spaces so we can have some brambles in the future. So that's, I'm not going to say problem solved, but it's going to be a whole heck of a lot better, I can tell you that much. And once this is complete, we do have the materials for it. They're just taking their sweet time. This can go away and become either some more berry bushes or more grapes. I'm probably leaning toward more grapes. Possibly. We'll see what happens. You take a look at the well-being here. Obviously, they can't eat the grapes by themselves. They absolutely can. Never mind. Well, I'm not taking that out, so you get to call me an idiot, but They can eat more grapes, and then we can make wine and all sorts of other stuff with them. But the berries situation, I'd say about 60% of the beavers are eating berries, and the berries do go into other recipes, so perhaps we should maybe plant berries instead. I don't know. We're going to have enough room once this entire hill goes away, but that, of course, is going to be a very slow process. You already know where that's going, so we can move on. So let's address some stuff that I saw in the comments. People are saying we need to have more exploration points. And I agree, because I would rather use this balloon platform for some actual beneficial trade. And in order to do that, I have to have enough points to unlock everything else and build additional balloons. So we come over here. We have Iron Teeth trade, which in certain circumstances might be very useful. But we have to have 15 points to build one of these. Amperes, again, could be very useful. We have to have 15 points, so that's 30 points right there. Another 15 for other Whitepaws. Another 20 for island beavers, which the shells are going to be necessary for the shell necklace, which is one of those possession things that grants well-being. So we're already at 65. And then when we get to the airship, we're not going to need any of that stuff, but it is going to require other things that we can obtain through trade. And if we want to build any more of these individual balloons, we're going to need sky exploration points as well. But fact of the matter is, at a bare minimum, we need another 75 or whatever the math worked out to. 65, whatever. We'll just keep getting some until I forget. I have storage for 100, so that's fine. They can trade methane, they can trade, well, methane powers the balloons, but I think that's the lore at least. Paper and pencil sets, we're not so hard up on that we can't afford to trade. We just needed to restart this balloon and get this show on the road. So, again, just little steps, piece by piece. This needs to go away. This is a total of 5 tall. So before I detonate this, let's just continue making some small steps that are going to enable us to have some sort of success here. Easiest path to the top, I know it's circuitous, is going to be to do this. I'm going to connect here because I'm not going to be able to connect these. And then at the very top here, these will be doubles, and then this will be tripled, blah, 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 blah. We'll get there. There's a lot of other stuff we have to take care of. We're going to address it. I saw another comment that said I didn't have any iron ore storage in District 2, which we have renamed Downriver. I got it. It's right here. I know it's not a lot, but it does exist. So that is not an issue. I think the issue is actually moving product around with haulers and the beavers working in these district crossings, which... the population is too small for the amount of industry we've built up, but the industry we've built up is too small to support the population we have. So, you know how that goes. We had an issue with the amount of drill bits being produced that can fairly easily be solved by just increasing the number of beavers in the factory making the drill bits. But at the end of the day, we still don't have enough scrap metal. But making the drill bits faster will help with that. We just have to really suffer through scrap metal acquisition or creation in the process of dealing with all of this. And we do have, well, if we had coal coming out, which we should, if we had something to do with all the dirt, we could be able to take care of that. So we need a dirt storage. Probably would be the easiest, single, most beneficial thing we can do is build a dirt storage. And there's not a lot of great spots without altering terrain, so let's make ourselves a place right here with a platform, have that path go all the way out to the corner. This connects all the way around, so I can just delete this and nothing bad's going to happen except maybe routing is suboptimal for a brief period of time. But dirt has to go in a pile. The largest I can make right now is the large industrial pile, holds 180, same as the large pile, but this one can be stacked. We have this behemoth, the gigargantuan storage pile, that requires things we can't make yet, like glass. So, all we have to do, all we can do right now is to pop in one of these guys right here, another one right here, make it real easy for ourselves. We don't have to have huge storage, we just have to have some storage. Put a little spiral staircase, because I do love the spiral staircase. That will get built eventually, that'll help unclog things. I know it's not right next to the drills, but it's going to be okay, don't worry about it. And we can move on to the next fun stuff. This area over here has become kind of a hot topic of discussion. And I think what we can probably do, given how this is laid out and how this is connected, we probably don't need to have this path going to this pass-through lodge. It's in the same district. It's already accessible right here. And it's taken up space we could use to plant rice. So I do need to leave. Actually, no, I don't, but it's also not affecting anything. I can take all of these out. It's only going to net us an additional 5 rice patties, but you know, it matters. Everything matters. And we can continue to find ways to, you know, take care of additional problems. A few more here. By a few, I mean 3. That's still in the range of everything here. And, you know, we've only added 8 by doing this, but that 8 is going to matter. It's going to end up being a pretty big deal. Eventually, we can fill this in and get some more level space, or we can blast things out here. That's also an option, maybe when we have a little bit more explosives. But for now, I'm going to say that is going to be good enough. And we can continue moving on to everything else. This area over here, I'm going to peel this back for a little bit just so you can see. This bad water pump, I've been told I should have, you know, had it way further down in the map. There's only another, maybe another 2 levels, 3 levels down I could have placed this, which, yes, that would have worked, but it would have required additional effort to block this in, and it's something we can revisit at some point in the future if it ends up being a problem. But we're in a bad tide or a normal situation probably 2/3 of the time. It's only the droughts that really affect this. And currently we are not using all of the bad water we're producing during the good times, so I'm not really worried about it right now. I understand why you might be concerned, but I think we're okay for now. Other issues, we did have the basic balm disappeared from here because we ran out of it. We can't produce it quickly enough because we have issues with supplying all of the ingredients. And that's probably due mostly to not having enough hauler beavers, which has been an eternal theme and will be an eternal theme until we get into the bots, which still a pretty long ways away. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over figuring this out. It's nice to have the ability to take care of the minor burns, the mild disease, and all that other stuff so that we can have as many beavers working as possible. We do have 33 incapacitated. Not too much else we can do until supply chains stabilize. Let's hide that so I can see. That brings us over here to the ENS. Currently have it making science points, which, you know, science is important, but now I have 2,800 science. And the library is also making science. I think it's time, and you guys seem to agree, Masters in Metallurgy, to put that back on the table, so to speak. We already have a lot of the materials for it, but having this researching Masters in Metallurgy is going to make it possible, eventually, for us to build this bad boy, the high temperature foundry. This is going to be probably the only reliable way for us to make a whole bunch of scrap metal. And I know you have to have scrap metal to make scrap metal, and this takes 300 to research the degree, and then to build this, of course, you have to have 100 metal blocks, which we don't have. We have 50. But I think it's going to be important for us not to, you know, drop everything and do this, but to put some sort of, I guess you could say, elevated background focus on getting this available. If we don't, it's just going to keep being terrible forever, and that's just the way it is. But there's other stuff that comes with it too, because remember, every 5 hours with this recipe, you get 100 scrap metal, and you get a little bit of science from it. But you have to give it 40 methane, which we're not really producing reliably because we don't have enough nenifars. And we have started doing a little bit of work to grow more here. Obviously, we want to have more than we currently are making, but the bad water has kind of, you know, made it impossible for that to be a thing. So I've been given a couple of ideas by you guys in the comments. We have a whole lot of dirt that has to go somewhere, and if I were to place a terrain block right here, we should, in theory, nearly instantly get a bunch of this back, And we can continue placing levees off of this. I'll just do those 4 right there, which will allow us to have a little bit more space here. And then eventually, super long term, maybe we can reroute the bad water somewhere completely different entirely, or cap these or something. We will still need some bad water to make, well, anything that involves bad water. But it doesn't have to be a super crazy struggle either. We can be smart about it. It's just going to take time. Meanwhile, the district and the corn. We have things pretty well in hand. Obviously, I'd love to have more water. But we are currently waiting on metal fasteners. Yes, we already established the metal fasteners are a problem because we don't have enough scrap metal. But we're working on it. We're getting there. I've also been informed that this little tarp here just means it can't operate regardless of why. And, you know, we need to have dirt removed. We need to have more drill bits. Again, we're working on it. Just is what it is. This one needs coal, which, again, this is not producing. It can be imported. We do have space. This one is currently operating. This one's operating. This one is not staffed, but it is prioritized, so it should be okay. It just needs more coal. And this also needs more coal. This one is operating. We're getting there. Additionally, these gravity batteries, which this is now like the 3rd episode of these being deconstructed with the hope of being immediately reconstructed. They didn't make it happen. On the ground here, we have metal fasteners, but we don't have storage for metal fasteners. You know, it is what it is. I wish I would have noticed that earlier. All we have to do is just make a simple storage for metal fasteners. And they can pick it up off the ground, finish these things with the same materials they pulled out of them, and then that's that. There's an embarrassing amount of metal fasteners on the ground that would have solved so many problems. Had I noticed that, or I guess had I, listened to you guys in the comments. And that is that. So we've pumped out all of the water from here with these pumps, which means we can now access these river baths. That is good. That is a design feature. And this district continues to get most of the water it needs, but definitely is going to love having this pump upgrade once we have the metal fasteners. So much to deal with. 2.5 days left. We have 5,300 water in storage, which is good. Needs to be higher, and we need to be utilizing our water more effectively through all of our different industrial things. But as you can see, we go all the way down here to water. We've got 47 buildings using it. A whole lot of them are making chestnut beer or different types of food or beverages, or are irrigating. These guys that are irrigating obviously use a tremendous amount. Mushrooms use even more. And that is it's just the way it goes. I got nothing else besides that. We're still in single speed. Alright, 20 minutes in the video, hit that triple button. But I think what we've talked about in the past 18, 19 minutes is all stuff that's important to take care of, and stuff that is going to make big benefits over time as we're able to take care of stuff. Just have to let it be what it's going to be. Try to bolster whatever kind of production chains we can, and not get too caught up in anything else. Now, I do see explosives starting to pile up just a little bit. So let's come up here and start doing our dynamite demolition. Continue working on everything else. Very slowly. We do have more mechanized water pumps that are waiting on a few materials. Surprise, surprise, it's metal fasteners. Nobody saw that one coming. But now we actually have these available in a storage place that they can then be taken over to our various construction sites. And when the bad tide is over, we can have these guys come out here and finish this construction, which is going to give us a little bit more power. We probably need to research the large water wheels and start building those, but I don't remember what kind of blueprints I have for that. I've got... Do I have any? I might not. Seriously? Did I not research those? Okay, what building is that in? Is that in the Mechanics Lodge? It is. I have 277 gears. Man, I have to make absolutely sure I'm not punking myself. That is not it. That's not it. Not it. Not it. Not it. Not it. Not it. Okay. Well, let's research the large water wheel blueprints, and then we can use them. So you'll note I did not pause any of the pumps this time around, with the idea that I no longer needed to worry about it. And because we put a dam and a thing here, we did not have to worry about it. And these trees are hardy enough to survive. Some of these crops, a little worse for wear, but not dead. Sunflowers do have a decent drought tolerance, at least enough for normal mode, which we find ourselves. So now our workers are in the process, very quickly I might add, I'm kind of surprised, of building this terrain block, which, unless I've just completely misunderstood things, which we all know is very possible, should give us a couple more squares here, and then these will additionally help us as they're filled in. We also need more clay. That's been a very common theme. Clay is really important, and I need to find more places to do it. I think this medium tank for water storage can be safely removed. Now, when I say that, it's probably going to be an unpopular choice, but it's currently empty. This is currently dry, so it doesn't matter. If we just remove this single piece of terrain, we can come back in with a clay pit here and then put another one right here. That is going to make a big difference. And then I can take this out of that corner as well. We don't have a clay storage in this general area. I don't really have a great place for it. Does that go in a pile? I can't ever remember what stuff goes in, and it is irritating to me. No, it goes in a warehouse. Good, because I don't have the long tiny pile unlocked. Let's do long tiny warehouse right here, because it's a place that will hold it. And just make a clay, just so we have a spot right here. And since we only have 0.7 days, I'm going to prioritize that. I'm going to slightly prioritize this. Then we can just have 3 of these things right next to each other. Not going to be a big deal. It's just maybe a little bit ugly of a pathing structure here. And we'll just move on from there. I'm very excited to see everything slowly fall into place as we continue working on stuff. We also do not have enough storage for gold dust, which I'm going to, I guess, also make a couple of storages here. That doesn't go there. That goes in a pile, doesn't it? See, I do not remember what any of this does. Okay, yeah, gold dust storage. What that means is we can start thinking about building some of these monuments and things that use that. 200 science, which we have 3,100 right now. 200 science is going to unlock the pointer statue, which takes 30 gold dust. So we don't have enough to build it yet. But if we make storage for it, we will. 50 metal blocks is a really steep price for the amount of metal that we currently have. But we're going to have other options, and we're going to have plenty of stuff that we can do. Don't explode. Thank you. Just need to be future thinking a little bit about this as much as we can and make smart choices according to what we would like to achieve. So now cycle 47 begins. As soon as this runs clear, we can swap this back over. Already see that clean water coming back. I'll give that a little bit more time. Let this get flushed out. It's just about there. Seems pretty good now. Down she goes. And this over here is looking good as well. All the way up. And then this is just about finished. Looks good to me now. So down she goes. And I can put this path back in place so that they can continue building all of this stuff. Every little bit counts. Hey, and guess what? We got gravity batteries. And now we can dynamite. Look at that. Now the capacity for each of these is 70,000. And we're not making enough power as it is, but that's fine. This right here is not the bottom of the map, which it's fine. Having two of these at 70,000 capacity is a huge upgrade from where we were. These over here only had 60,000, and for a while these were the only gravity batteries we even had in the first place. Now we're getting our pumps coming back online. We did amass a pretty decent storage of planks. I'm sure that's going to immediately get consumed as we continue working on everything else here, but you know how it goes. And it looks like we have our deep water pump upgrade as well, which is very good news. This district has 11 vacancies. How did that happen? Well, we did not keep up very well with how everything was laid out and haven't shut anything off. But we'll get there. We're about halfway to having this terrain block finished. It's not really of paramount importance at this exact moment, but still making decent progress. Nothing to be ashamed of. So we entered day 2 of cycle 47. We've planted these extra rice things. We're full on the rice balls, so we should see the rice numbers start to increase a little bit. I know we're still making a bunch of half-fermented sake for different recipes, and that's all well and good. Everything is just slowly trending upward, and we can enjoy that. How are we looking on collecting stuff for our degree here? Everything looking okay. Methane obviously needs to be faster. We can't, unfortunately, research methane, as in, like, acquire it from other sources like that, but it is what it is. This needs to be prioritized by haulers. I forgot to do that. But we should see coal soon as the dirt goes somewhere. Boy, this filled up quick. Yeah, see, dirt is a problem. That's why I had these guys trying to take care of stuff here. Do I have dirt storage in this district even? I have... Wow, I have 740 storage over here. I betcha it's... Yeah, okay. Well, part of that's on the hauling beavers not really having enough to do. Or not having enough to do the hauling. Too few beavers. So this is making iron. This is also making iron. That could be a big contributor to all of our problems. Let's switch these guys over to coal. Oh, it's a never-ending goose chase with the Waterbeavers, man, I'm telling you. Okay, we built this, which means this no longer has to be a thing. This could be... I guess I'm just going to plant berries. It's easiest to do it that way. We're looking okay on grapes. Shouldn't be upset about it. You know, I don't see any methane stored over here either. I know we're just making a single thing of methane with our nenophares, which we do not have enough of. Again, really hopeful this is going to open up more space for us to have nenophares from. These two beavers, I'm going to say, should prioritize lotuses for now. Harvesting. I don't really have that many more beavers to spare to run this, but I probably could put another 2 in, which of course is going to theoretically double productivity. We just have to get these things harvested because, man, we need the methane really, really badly. These guys are going to do their best to take care of that. Sunflowers, obviously still in need, but we are almost full on sunflower oil. And we do still have this one beaver who can take care of some of that. And once I harvest enough of these lotuses, I'm just going to not have a prioritized resource so they can do everything. You just have to know what you can do at any given time and not overextend yourself. I know, Rich coming from me, the guy who famously always overextends himself in this series. Okay, still clogged up, this time on iron ore. So let's do some quick math here. What is our storage capacity for... Oh, it's only the 80. Okay. Well, that explains quite a bit. That I have not fixed any of those problems. So, the way that this is set up now, easiest way to get around all of these issues is going to be to just build a parallel pathway here. This drill bit storage needs to be moved. I'm going to put it right in the middle. It's not like there's anything in there anyway. But as soon as this moves, now we are going to be able to take some of this out. I take these 3 medium piles for waste rocks, coal, and iron ore, and I can start putting those industrial piles in. And we will have enough space here to take care of that, with the exception of this bit right there. This connects all the way around. I think this is going to be a little annoying to deal with, but all I'm going to have to do is double blast that, and then I can move this whole stack over. We can start building piles here, the industrial ones. Of course, we can have ladders and all that. So, we can have a pile for iron. We can have a pile for waste rock. We can detonate that beaver boom. Move this pathway over one more. Yes, in an ideal scenario, we're going to have all this other stuff taken care of, but baby steps. We have one of these for coal, and another one of these for dirt, which then means this can go away and be something else, but we really have to just buckle down and get something built. Remember, the abyss only needs 1 tile on any given side, so this is still okay for us to build here. Ladders are expensive, but they're very space efficient. We only need to have a single one on this end. Everything else can be pathways with all of that stuff. And we can just keep going up from there, solve a whole lot of problems, and not worry about it. This staircase can go away. This path can go away. This can just be brought right back in here. And we can, if we choose, take these 2 little pieces of cabbage out and have this go up instead of down. Of course, I'm going to dynamite this. I said I was going to do that last time, and now we finally have some sort of dynamite for stuff to, you know, get removed. Take this out at triple speed so we're not just drinking through a fire hose the entire time. Prioritize that. Come back and look at that in a moment. How are we looking here? 780 out of 1,000. I really expected this to take a lot longer, so I'm glad that seems to be looking okay. How are things over here? Still the same as they were. Okay, well, I guess I shouldn't be too upset about that. Yeah, the most important thing is getting these things going, and that is unfortunately being held back by all of this not being constructed. All right, what's the deal with the planks? I know I have plank storage. We're just not forcing the import of planks. Where's my planks? One of these is going to be planks. Am I going to have to sit here and snake this whole thing? Okay, here it is. No, those are force import. So what gives? I know I have planks. You can't tell me I don't have planks. I got 270 of them. It is probably because I only have 4 beavers working this district. Oh, I have unemployed beavers. All right, guess what? Now I have 5. In fact, I'm going to say let's go for 8. Because I know we do have other jobs in this district that do not have to have a beaver. So those are still looking okay. I just saw this big number without clicking on anything. I was like, oh, well, that's not good. But half those jobs are in this district. Which, okay, we already knew this is not important because I do have the watertight lodge. That does give a 200% bonus to carrying capacity. So we don't need any hauling beavers working out of basic housing. Not a great idea. Eventually, and if I had the materials during that last drought, I would have done it. I do want to put another one of these deep water pumps here. It's a much better use of 3 dwelling spaces than just a regular lodge. But it goes to show, it's not as dire in here as you might think based on the amount of vacancies that we have. Things should be okay. Now, I do want to check the migration thing here. Yeah, we need our minimum to be 36 adults here. And then we need to ship the kids off somewhere else. So, let's go districting the corn to regular old Beaverburg. Ship those kids off. And keep this fully staffed by adults. Alright, and now it's only down 5. And that is okay because one of those is here, one of those is here. And then I actually... Okay, one of those is... Oh, that's not down, that's just not. These fermentation barrels don't technically need someone in them the whole time. It's just easier if they're permanently staffed. That's minimum priority. That's minimum priority. Okay, we're beyond good. No cause for concern. Okay, 820. How are we looking over here? And we got any stuff ready to go? We do. B for boom. You already know what's going in here. That's right. It's a primitive smelter. And then I really wish they'd get some planks in here. This is supposed to be making planks. It's just really slow. But now that this is taken care of here, I think, not the most elegant way to do it, but if we dynamite this out, I can put a staircase going down, and I can just level this up. I do unfortunately need to keep this here for the sake of actually having primitive smelters available. But eventually we could move it and just do other stuff. We can build the scaffolding on top of this while we are waiting. There is no rule against that. And then I can just take this out, get that hooked up there, and then this will come out just fine. Just need to have a connection here before we do too much of anything else. We'll come back when the time is right. Now, we have a water cannon here that is supposed to keep this filled, which in theory means this floodgate dam will never have to be opened again. And now that it has power, let's shut it. And this may not be able to keep up with these pumps. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But it will send enough. So we just leave that going. Currently it's only powered by its own thing, but the rest of these are going to get popped in place. Ah, that's where the planks were going. That's where the planks were going. I solved the problem. Not like it was a huge mystery. I just temporarily forgot. Okay, 46 dynamite. How are we looking here? They still haven't brought this in. Okay, where's my dynamite going then? I know we had this. I was going to be planting some other stuff on. I don't think the tree nursery is actually going to reach all the way over there. No, but this is also blocking the way. It's also not really close enough, so I guess we'll just leave that as it is. We do have one more bachelor's in agronomy if we wanted to build a second GMO growing lab. As it is right now, this is making bramble flowers for us. We still don't have a full storage, but we are at least not out. That's something to be proud of. Minor burns still need to be taken care of. Still kind of waiting on a whole bunch of this stuff to be more easily accessible. Clay is what it is. But we do have beavers working on it. And since we only have... Wow, you only have 2 vacancies. I'm going to say let's get all of these beavers working here in the clay pits. And we can pull them out of the jobs that are not the most important ones. I got 10 haulers here, 10 haulers here, 10 haulers here. Plus we have the others in these stack things. I know we need more, but honestly it's going to be easier to just have the bots do it. And they have a much, much more efficient capacity for it in the first place. As far as scouting points are concerned, I don't know. I don't know what is happening. Oh, I have 22 because they're in district. This district. There we go. Something to not be super upset about, I guess. Come on, man. I know I told you to build these water wheels, but I'm dying for planks over here. Absolutely dying. This is full of sawdust. That is almost certainly not helping. Do I have a storage for sawdust in this district? Easier way is just to click on this. Technically, I do. We will need more storage for sawdust. I don't have a lot of great options. probably, unfortunately, the easiest thing to do is going to be to just stick one of these over here and have it set to sawdust. Give them a little bit more leeway. I don't want to just burn it either because, you know, sawdust is really important. And we are going through it. I just have to... Wait, I can just do this. I can turn one of these fast mode. That's a much easier solution. Okay. Now we just need planks here. Then that can continue going, but they still aren't importing enough. And if this has 8 here, that means we should see more stuff get brought through because they have more workers on that side. And this is filling up reasonably well. Scrap metal, again, huge problem, but we're trying to fix it. We're doing what we can. B for boom. Bring me a staircase and a path. And get all that connected on that side. I think just as soon as this staircase is complete... I can't reach this unless I blast this out, which I could, and I said I would, so I probably should. Eventually. We'll get there. Just get that pre-rolled there. Waiting on coal to absolutely no one's surprise. At least we do have a drill bit. I see that one extra there. Also waiting on... yeah, you guessed it. Waiting on scrap metal. This guy's all finished. And I don't have a good way of getting him down anywhere that actually has any reach. So, if I want to, I could dynamite this and put a staircase. And I think that's going to allow me to reach another 2 of these. It's probably going to be the easiest way to do it. We absolutely just must have more of this. And then we need to think about diverting, which is something that could happen either here or here. And this is 1 level down as well. So... if I'm going to commit to diverting on this side... no, I don't think I am. Just because we're actually relying on these for pine resin. It's probably... I know there's more trees over here. But it might be... geographically might be easier to have this side blasted down. So that means... just for the sake of 45 scrap metal... it's going to be easier for us to just build a spiral staircase and a couple of scaffoldings right there. Not the most glamorous method of, you know, getting something done, but it is a method of getting something done. They finally finished this, and we're still not making enough power. Okay, well, part of that's also because we're running these drills. We're running all of these mechanized water pumps, which we probably shouldn't be doing. But it is what it is. I know some of you are probably absolutely sick of me saying that, but... well... I also should... see, that's outputting 156, and this needs... 150. It's probably actually going to be better for me to just put a wheel here instead of this connection, but I'm not in a position right now to do that. Just trying to keep things going smoothly here. Very slowly. We need... man, I need somewhere to put a large tank. It's not as easy as just build a bunch of platforms around it. Well, I mean, technically it is, but that's not the right way to do it. And I don't want to just get used to doing things the cheesy way either. Remember, Waterbeavers is suffering. It's not supposed to be easy. But if I want to put a giant buried tank in, I could, this bit right here, I could use these 3, and I could blast out 2 of the sides and fill them with something else. I'm not opposed to that. Just like putting it in the middle of nowhere, like this right here. Like, okay, sure, like we're using the storage, it's fine, but this isn't the way this was meant to be used. If we really, really, really wanted to, we could blast this down same depth as the medium mine, and that probably would be a fine and decent way to do it. But our builders are so stinking busy. They don't have time. They don't have the time to come over here and do this. So I think I need to take a look. Builders tower segments. I need to find the first one of these lowest down that is paused. I guess that would be this one. Open it up and get some more population, because we do need more population. And get a couple more builders in here. Let them do what they got to do. How are we looking over here? Still no. Still no. Okay, well, at least they have this. We have storage for iron ore. I know this has been completely grinding everything to a screeching halt. As it does. We'll get there. Just have to wait. Better question is what's going on with this ladder here. Okay, it's almost done. This bottom one for coal is finished, which means these can get unclogged. Kind of. It's just, there's just so much that has to be done. Yeah, I can't sit here and watch this or I'm going to completely lose my mind. Did they place this? No. That needs to be a priority. That's going to be the easiest thing to do. So triple speed, move this back over to here. Rice numbers are very slowly ticking up. Again, probably due in large part to the rice ball storage being almost full. And hopefully getting other stuff taken care of. Nenifars and the methane remain a concern. I never did deprioritize this, but it's fine, I guess. It's not like they're only doing this. They are going to handle everything else if they don't have anything else to do with that. But hey, guess what? This is done. All right, let's see in real time. Am I going to be stupid? I guess the answer is yes. That is disappointing. I guess I must have misinterpreted that YouTube comment, but we are putting in for reference, someone said, hey, you put your dirt behind your levees and you're going to have a whole lot more land to work with, which I'm sure they're right. I just read it wrong. This will be waiting on some more logs here, and then that I know for sure is going to give us a few more spots. We already see this one getting popped in there. That was previously poisoned. We just gotta have more stuff. Gotta have more stuff here. So this is going to be another opportunity for us to just put regular dirt here and here, and then here and here. Easiest thing to do. I know this is 4,000 dirt that we don't technically have, and it's going to have our builders do all sorts of other ridiculous things. So I will deprioritize this so they can handle other stuff. But, you know, this actually has made a decent difference. I can't be upset about it. Let's give them a little bit more space to plant these nenifars. Just blast out some of this stuff that we can. I know they can't really reach all of this because of how this has been dealt with here. But they'll get to it in time. This says it's too far from a district, which means that staircase is going to be more than 10 blocks away. We can kind of solve this problem. Not completely, but we can kind of solve it by putting in a staircase in this corner here. Help to get into these other bits. Well, let's come back over here. B for boom. Time for a staircase. That'll help them out there. This guy can have something else to do. Finally built that. Alright. That gets B for boomed. That gets connected there. That gets removed there. That gets a platform, scaffolding, whatever there. That gets connected there. And then that means, once this is in place, which they will make it be in place, this can now be more of these, not those, more of these large industrial piles. So what goes on the bottom here? We have iron, we have coal, we have waste rock, we have dirt. I'm going to make this another coal and another iron. Because dirt, in theory, should be all exported to this other district for use in A little bit of flood control. And look at that! All I had to do was exactly what I already knew I had to do. That's the way she goes. Let's get this wood out of here. I'm not going to send somebody up here to grab it. That is such a waste of time. That is a double. That will need to be probably just doubled. Let's use our single dynamite to take this down. It's the same amount of dynamite no matter what. There's no other anything, so it doesn't matter. This is just a convenience issue. Yeah, just get all that out. This is, in theory, still giving us coal, which it is, actually. Not just in theory. Still losing a lot of power on the gravity batteries. Man. 200 HP, 200 HP. I'm going to pause these so we have some sort of hope of positive gravity battery stuff happening because it's day 7. Now the consumption is super low overnight. That can help recharge. This will hold enough water, even though this is being pumped. This will hold water for a little bit. This has nothing going against it except evaporation, so we won't need to worry about that for a while. That's working now over here, I trust. All sorts of fun stuff. How are we looking in the ENS? As expected, scrap metal is a problem. Everything else is progressing nicely. Methane remains an issue, but we already knew that. That's why we're attempting to solve this. Let's bop those out. Yeah, that's 4 more nenifars we can plant. That is perfect. I do see the tendrils of doom over here, but that doesn't mean we can't go ahead and blast this out anyway, with the understanding that eventually this is going to be usable space once all of this is put in place. You know the drill. You absolutely know the drill. So I can't remove this levee here because this is currently keeping the bad water at bay. But if we are in a situation where I am pretty sure... Oh, wait. No, I don't have to work. I don't have to hypothetically. I can just pop a terrain block in here and just wait eventually for them to do that. Because then, if that's gone, then I will be able to put another one here. I can take this out, most importantly, and attach it to something else. I'm just trying to create more space. It's a process. You already know. Can they reach... They can't reach this far. Okay, that is a different problem. Then I may have to rotate this. I know I wanted them to be able to access all of the sunflowers here, but it might be worth moving this 2 blocks over, rotating 90 degrees, and then planting more of this behind it on this side. We do have okay coverage from this farmhouse, but if I rotate this, it might not be able to get to all of the rest of the... I don't know. I'm going to choose not to get that worried about it. Still waiting here. Yeah, we can leave that alone for the time being. I always manage to go past my work zones. Okay, this is ready. Beef boom. Get that out of there. I only have 6 explosives left. So that's a thing. Okay, needs more coal. Needs more coal. Almost finished and can immediately start again. Yep. Okay, in the process, needs more coal. I mean, we're making progress. It's just an issue of how fast are we going, how fast do we want to go, and how much more are we willing to do to get there. So, iron, coal, iron, dirt, waste rock. Dirt is already completely full. It should... Oh, these have different capacities. Oh, never mind. They just swapped coal and dirt here and dirt and iron ore here. Okay. Well, it is what it is. So many things I want to blow up, but I can't because I'm waiting on explosives, waiting on dynamite. Brambles are looking good. No complaints there. Slowly recharging the gravity batteries. That's, you know, it's got to count for something. This does still have range, by the way, in case you were curious, if we ever wanted to have anything up here. Quartz is going to be a problem soon-ish. I see we have 1,200 iron. I'm going to take this. Come on. Click, please. I'm going to take this and get quartz out of it. So we could just pop that in the ENS. That'll be a nice, easy, simple thing. And away we go. We have 16 minorly burned beavers. That is, it's a lot of burned beavers. I know that's because we don't have all this balm here. Just, we gotta have the supplies. So, man, I guess I'm just gonna prioritize these. I was trying to avoid giving the haulers any more work, but I don't think it's avoidable at this point. 32 vacancies. That's too many. It's taking away haulers. Maybe it's not. Okay, it's taken away a few. So I guess it could be worse. What are these guys doing? Making screw press axles? They can't keep up screw press axles, huh? I don't see any in storage here. Alright, well, that's a little concerning. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think they were going to use that quickly. Well, this is what it is. Still have enough here. Oh, that's not prioritized by haulers. Of course not. Okay. That might explain why I'm really bad about that. But at least we have storage here. Mostly. And that's done, which is good. Probably could put another row of those in and not really be in any type of bad shape. The blueberries are dry because this is dry. Because this is turned off. So I will open this just so we can, you know, get those guys refreshed. But until we can start making more power or consuming less, then I'm going to keep that turned off, and I'm going to keep that turned off because that doesn't need to be constantly filled up. Is this the newest one? Which is the newest one that just got finished? Like, I need to be building more of these, right? Okay, because these aren't prioritized. Well, I'm going to pause them then, so they're not consuming any power. I guess these are just reserve pumps if things get really, really dicey. How are we looking here? Okay, still not great. Quartz has... That's the wrong building. Quartz has not been brought over here. Is it being stored anywhere? Do I even... I do have quartz storage. Okay. I guess that's for the haulers to take care of. So much. So much to do. The bot assembler, by the way, is the one that requires the PhD in robotics, which has to be researched after that. And then to build a bot, we have to have processors, which are made in the ENS, which I guess is a... didn't want to click on that. A good segue to the next part of this, which someone said, why don't you just build a second ENS? That would help a lot. But they're very expensive. The blueprints, I don't think, can be duplicated, so we'd have to research those again. And by the time we got around to it, because we also have to make another 200 library books and then compress those, it would take us probably 3 full cycles to do this, and we'd have to put everything else on hold. So, like, it is a good idea, and it is probably still worth doing, but we've been so far behind for so long, I don't think it's worth rushing the ENS, the second ENS, when the large, big foundry, whatever the high temperature thing, yeah, that one is called, is going to do so much more good in such a smaller amount of time. We can just focus on that. Hopefully you can understand and appreciate that. So they're putting that there. That is lower priority, and they're only building that because they don't have anything else to do. I have 21 explosives now. So this right here is 3 blocks high. I know we've talked about this to a certain extent, but this is the correct height for us to put a giant buried tank. If I were to blast out this bit right here, I would almost have enough support on all sides. I would just have to do 2 by 3, 3 blocks deep, right here. And then I'd have to have some sort of support here in this corner. We've established, yes, there it is, that this will fit on top of large industrial piles. which then stands to reason that they would fit on top of, I lost my place again, a big stack of these platforms here. I'm okay with this as an adaptation of what we were attempting to do. I don't feel like that's gaming the system at all. So I'm going to try to put this here. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, okay. But we got to have more storage, especially because this is just about full. And it is day 12, so we're going to have a bad tide or a drought probably announced the following day here as the clock ticks over the hour mark, thereabouts. It says an hour, 1 minute and 34 seconds on my OBS, but I know the game takes a few minutes to load, so it's not going to be exactly what you're going to see on your YouTube timer right now. But I am very, very interested to see how this goes. How many of these large water tank things do I have? I have... Why do I have 46 blueprints for the mechanical drill? Do I have any of these? Did I make a mistake? Oh, this doesn't need a blueprint. Okay. Okay, good. I was about to be like, no. Just like that. 140 planks. No, we can do that. Just get these other two in here. Can they build this? They can. All right. Now, if I detonate this out and this doesn't fit, then I'm just going to level the whole mountain. And that'll be fine. Actually, looking at this now, I could have put this one block further back, but I want to try it. I can always just blow up more. That's not a problem. All right, giant berry tank. Oh, yeah. Let's go. That's going to be nice to have next to all these other pumps. Well, kind of. So I guess that's now their new project. We will have to leave these bits in place, but everything else can and should be removed. So, triples here. This needs a way to get up, which probably is going to be easier to just come up this way. That needs to be removed, and this can be doubled, but everything else up here absolutely can and should be tripled. I know we only have so much explosive. That's the way it always goes. Okay, recharging nicely. Okay, there's that bad tide warning. Good, that is what I was expecting, and that's going to be great because we're going to keep making power. Recognizing that that is going to be happening soon. The depth of that is getting a little low. I'm going to turn this back on. This one I'm not going to turn back on. Okay, that is set to filter only regular water. Good. I don't think they're going to be able to build or fill this before this bad tide comes up. But things are looking better. Scrap metal situation is still pretty dire, but it's improving. I say as there's not enough coal in here to really do much of anything. How many beavers? I've got 57 beavers, and I have one hauler beaver here. I've got 6 here. This building gives them 200% carrying capacity increase and 25% movement speed increase. This one, remember what we were saying, gives them the carrying capacity increase but not the speed increase. That's why this is minimum prioritied. I can't go any lower than that. But I can increase the amount of beavers working in here, and that will take them away from this and all these other jobs that don't need to have a beaver constantly watching them. So we got 12 empties. I got these 8 that are completely empty because of that. That is fine. This mushroom grower can function without workers. Let's minimum priority. Same thing here. Honestly, should have done it a long time ago. But that is looking okay. Still getting that. You know, like I've been saying this whole time, incremental improvements. Every little bit matters. That's all you can do. B for boom. Looking okay there. Let's grab... I guess I could have, if I really wanted to, bury this all the way down to the ground, but honestly, this is fine right here. They already got all the pieces? I am thoroughly impressed. That's good. That's really going to help because, well, I mean, this isn't full anyway, but... you know how it goes. Okay, one empty there. These are all triples. I guess I can put doubles here. I'll just do this whole thing in doubles first. It's going to be easier. I know we don't have enough. It's going to be okay. All right. Now we have a place to put water, and it will be fine. Good. That was definitely a need. How are we looking here? Okay, getting there. Getting there. Gravity batteries are fully charged here. What about here? Fully charged. I'm going to turn these two on so they can actually, you know, pump water in the next 1.7 days. And that should be pretty good there. 8,700 food is looking good. Not everything is perfect. Obviously, we have a lot of fried rice and a lot of rice balls and a lot of mushrooms. And that seems to be keeping things kind of artificially high. But it's alright. We do have methane. I'm kind of surprised to see that much methane in here. We need to build a gas tank, but it is 70 metal blocks, which probably should go to some other stuff first. We're getting there. We're getting there. I know the pathing is still really bad, and a lot of you guys don't like that, but short of completely ripping a bunch of stuff out that we kind of can't afford to rip out, it's not going to get any better. At least for the time being. This is honestly kind of okay over here, and I think a couple of you agree with that, but if we move this path one more over this way, then I will be able to, I think, get a single unit of rice additionally in here. I wish we could have over the rice, like bridges to connect different areas. Which I guess we could if we put them up on ladders and just went all the way across, but yeah, maybe not that big of a deal. I mean, we're doing okay. We have 212. Could be a whole lot worse. Total water storage capacity by now, if you're curious, is just under 12,500, which is definitely helping. Scrap metal I see at 22. Got 11 in this district, now 14. Harvesting over here looking okay. Yeah, just need more coal. That's working, and it's stocked up ready for 2 more full loads. That's good. Working, stocked up for 1 more load. Waiting on some more coal. Waiting on some more coal, but actively working. Waiting on coal. Waiting on coal, and this one is also waiting on coal. But this isn't being held up. It's just slow. I guess we're fine. We're doing okay. Are we at least transporting the quartz? Kind of. I have 276 quartz, not quite enough to pause that. We'll need quartz to go into the high-temperature foundry to make glass, which is another great reason to build this building. But beyond that, we almost have the 500 clay needed to build this. We definitely are going to have the dirt. We have the tools. We have the gears. We're working toward getting more metal. We have everything else. So we can build, we can research it. We can find a place for it. We just can't actually build it yet. So before we get too comfortable, we do have a bad tide starting in half a day. That is going to be the end of this episode. So we do need to prepare. This will need to be raised. This will need to be lowered over here. And then this will need to be raised. And given that nothing bad happened when we ran out of water here, I'm just going to let these things do what they're going to do. And we will move on and be in a really, really good spot. This is ready for Beaver Boom. Now we've got some more space, just a tiny bit. But we do have a little bit more space with which to grow some berries. So I'm going to plant those real quick, and we're going to start our process of getting out of here. Yeah, I think we're doing okay. Wow. Almost 75% full. I will count that as a victory any day of the week. So this can be paused. And now we're about to get our bad tide. We made sure everything was perfect, good to go. And how many days is it going to be? Looks like 8 days. All right, so that's where we end this one. I really appreciate you guys watching this series, giving me some helpful ideas, tips, calling me out when I haven't finished things. I know that's very frustrating, but it truly does all take time. We've accomplished most of the things I wanted to based on your comments. I know there's still stuff we didn't get to, but we've made good progress. We've streamlined some things. We've gotten a little bit closer to having the scrap metal kind of unblocked, and I'm feeling really good about our progress. So you already know the drill, beard boosters make it possible to continue doing these crazy things like a, what is it, episode is this, 42? Probably going to be like 70 episode series of the same thing. And I know some of you guys don't really care that much for the Waterbeavers, but those of you who do, and especially me, really love doing this, and I'm thankful we get to just make the videos we want to make and not say, okay, well, that didn't do too well, so let's do something else. No. Those folks who subsidize the channel directly make it possible. And beyond that, make it possible for me to dedicate as much time as I do to this on a relatively small channel like we've got. So I really appreciate you. Even if you're not on that list, just you being here also helps in its own way, and I am so glad we get to spend this time together. But it's time for me to move on and take care of some other things. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Whatever it is you're doing, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back soon for more beavers. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.